Hey guys, we've been posting a bit about low light environments, visible white light, and it's been doing very well. We haven't received this amount of questions, comments, feedback about anything we've ever put out other than this. So it's important to you guys, and I think that stems from the fact that whether you look at Canada or US statistics, about 50% of our officer involved shootings, give or take a couple percentage, are around that 50% mark. So it's obviously something we deal with a lot. At the same time, our agencies are not giving us the training that we need to support those type of environments. So it's very misunderstood. So that said, if it's something that's important to you guys, I want to keep talking about it because that's the whole point of the Climb Development Group. Even though I'm a full-time law enforcement instructor, I pride myself on a student first, and all the notebooks I've got full of notes and ideas and stuff like that. I try to make a complicated thing as simple as possible for you guys to understand, so it can help speed your process up to get to where you want to be. That said, I'm on Christmas vacation trying to play Cyberpunk 2077. Not working out very well because it's a giant unfinished piece of trash. So here I am without ideas, drinking bourbon in my basement, and I want to talk to you about what I look for and what I try to avoid in handheld flashlights. So let's get right into it. Actually, let's do some housekeeping first. I want to preface this with the fact that don't get wrapped around money. A lot of guys, especially on Instagram, I'm not a social media guy. I use Instagram because it's the easiest way to get the most amount of content out to most amount of people in a short and concise format. But if I've learned anything from Instagram, it's that it's all about how much money you can drop. Okay, there's too many Instagram channels out there or pages that are about run around with your PVS 15s and B Myers malls and stuff like that. And that's not to, shit on those products, but sometimes it's associated to how much multicam black you can buy, and that's not what any of this stuff should be about. It's about making each other better. Okay, but again, talking about money, if you're going to be if you can only afford an Olight or flashlight or something in that sub 100 category, if you're buying the most amount of lumens you can for the money you can afford, you're doing the right thing. Okay, cops don't make a lot of money, so we can't all run out and buy Modlites, and I don't expect you to either. So I'm going to be comparing a Modlite PLH V2 to a Fenix PD35 TAC. Okay, sub 100, over 500 Canadian. These aren't even the same thing other than the fact that they're flashlights. So don't get stuck in the idea that if you can't afford a super primo Modlite, Cloud, or Surefire that you're not going to be able to perform your job. You just need to understand a few things about that light and work around them. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about what I try to avoid in lights. The Fenix PD35 TAC. This was issued to me through my department. I primarily use it for force on force. As you can see, it's covered with SIM because if my Modlite takes around, I don't know how it's going to be serviced or warranted. So this is what I predominantly use at work or in the training environment. Let's talk about beam performance. This thing works at a variety of lumen ranges, which is one of the things I don't like about it. 5, 60, 200, 500, and 1,000 lumens, each at the 10,000 candela range, which I have no idea how that makes sense, but that's how it works. It says the beam is effective out to 200 meters. No way in hell would I expect to have a good PID on a threat at 200 meters with this light. It is insane. Am I getting visible light out to 200 meters with this? Yeah, I am, but it's not useful light whatsoever, and that's only in optimal conditions. So that range and that candela is not exactly accurate. And the other thing too is when we start dealing with Asian manufactured or Chinese manufactured lights, is how the lumens and candela and stuff like that are measured are not going to be as accurate or as truthful as companies like Surefire or Modlite. So it's something to be aware of. Don't get wrapped around the axle about all the lumens or hashtag all lumens or stuff like that. That's not always going to be the case. Okay. So yeah, at distance, it starts letting down because it doesn't have the candela. Photonic barriers, environmental concerns, stuff like that. The light starts crashing quickly and it's not able to be effective out to distance. Inside of a room, working interiors, yeah, it's completely fine. It works great. But if you have to push a bunch of energy through a vehicle or around a vehicle, it's just not going to be up to task. Okay. The other thing is this guy right here, this Dogman switch or side switch is a bit of a deal breaker for me. Okay. So that's in its low mode of 5 lumens. If I drop it up to, there we go, that's 1,000 lumens. It's turbo mode. So I hit the switch, good to go. But under stress, I start squeezing, let's get the tail cap. I'm cycling between modes that I don't want. Okay. When I'm getting shot at, I typically want the most amount of lumens I can get. Okay. But again, you're like, oh, I'm taking rounds, blah. You're cycling between a bunch of shit you don't want, and that's not going to help you. Okay. This is a very easy button to hit when you're in that ice pick or barrel grip. Okay. That's not going to work. Or even worse, you hit it under stress. And you create this strobe mode. Okay. Sorry if I just gave you epilepsy, but that is not going to help. Okay. That's working against you. This multi-mode switch derives from the EDC community, where they want a light that can do everything. Okay. They want an admin light. They want a light to control or identify threats. You need to get your head around the fact that you need more than one light. Okay. You need a light to control and identify threats, but you also need a light to do administrative tasks. And that's where we get into stuff like this. This is a Petzl, what do we call this? Tactica Plus. Okay. So this one has different, it's in red mode now, but I have different levels of white light. And I can also drop down to red light to preserve my night vision. Okay. So I keep this in my cargo pocket if I'm on patrol. If I'm wearing a plate carrier, I wrap it around the shoulder straps like this so I can do a bunch of administrative tasks. Because when we talk about the 5 primary flashlight applications, we have searching, navigating, threat identification, control, and communication. But what we don't talk about is administrative stuff. So say, for instance, I pull over a vehicle. I want to search the vehicle. It's going to suck to dump 1,000 lumens into someone's vehicle or a backpack or a purse or something like that. I don't need that much light. Okay. So we want to get lights that have 5, 20, whatever lumens. That's not what this is for. This is what this is for. Okay. So get 2 lights. This thing should be on, off, same amount of lumens, same amount of output, no confusion, because we're using this for combat purposes. Okay. Another thing to talk about is the tail cap. Okay. This is scalloped on some sides and raised on others. I don't know why they went this way. I think it's for lanyards or something. But what this means is if I grab the light this way on the high end, on the raised part of the tail cap, which is to prevent against negligent discharges, it's going to feel different than when I'm in the scalloped end, and it's a lot easier. Okay. This seems kind of trivial until you actually use this on force environments, and it's not the same, and you're not getting light when you want it, or you're getting light when you don't. Okay. So this should be uniform the entire way around. That said, there's a lot of things about this light that I do like. It does run on CR123s, but it also runs on 18650. So I have the option to use a rechargeable cell versus disposable cells. So regardless, if I want to run rechargeable the whole time, if I run out of power, I can slam some disposable cells on there and I can keep it going without having to worry about recharge rates. That said, the way the 18650s or 18350s work now, and you're using something like a storage cell like a Theorem Cell Vault 18, you should be good to go. But it's something that I do actually prefer and like. So, and the big thing is price point, accessibility. You can have the best light ever, but if it's unaffordable for most law enforcement officers, it's going to be an obstacle for them to overcome. Okay. So let's talk about things I do like in a light. This is the Modlite PLHV2. Okay. Completely different category by itself. I love this light, but at the same time, I had to pull off some Han Solo shit to get this into Canada. For whatever reason, Modlite doesn't want to export to Canada. I talked to a lot of our companies or organizations that we buy product from, and we're like, hey man, you need to figure out a way to get Modlites in Canada. And they're like, yeah, we've contacted them. There's no interest in it. Which is, Modlite is their own business. They get to decide who they want to sell to and where they want to export to. That's their choice. So I'm not trying to talk shit about that, but at the same time, Modlite, please reconsider the fact that up here in Canada, we need lights like this. We need to have this type of stuff, and I'm not sure what the issue is, but please reconsider and be willing to sell Modlite to Canada. Because again, this thing is a PS5 in my hands, and all it does is cast white light. And I would pay this probably a couple times over to get more of this product because it performs that well. So think about that. The beam anatomy is 1350 lumens, which is tons of power. But the big thing is they emphasize on candela. It's 54,000 candela compared to the the PD35 TAC, which is 10,000. It has throw for days. I would have more than enough confidence at 150 meters to have PID on stuff, depending on the environment, with this light, to push that energy out and be able to adequately assess that threat. This thing is insane at how much throw it actually produces. It can overcome photonic barriers. If you've been watching our Instagram posts lately, the PLHV2 is basically what we've been using for the most part. Okay, and which is essentially what started off our whole low light kick in the first place. This thing is insane. Whatever I can do here with my hands isn't going to do it justice. You have to have a beam comparison at distance. So yeah, that is the biggest reason I prefer this light. The other thing too is the actual output of the light. It's on, off, on, off. There's no tail caps. There's no multi-mode. You either get on or off and that's it. Keep it simple. That's what a searching, controlling, identifying light needs to be able to do. That's it. Okay. We talked about the tail cap a bit. This is uniform the entirety of the whole tail cap. So regardless of my orientation on an ice pick grip or bail grip, I'm always going to be able to have that same leverage, and it's going to feel the same no matter what. It's perfect. This is exactly what I want. It runs on 18650 cells, which is perfect. Again, I said if you have more than one cell for a shift of work, that's more enough power than you need to get through that. Would I prefer to run on 123s as backup? Absolutely. Modlite makes it very clear you can't use 123s on this because it could overheat or explode. I don't want that. So the 18650s are the way to go. It sucks, but makes sense, and they are reliable and they're dependable in the format that they come in right now. Okay. The other thing with that too is I have this one fully charged, so it's not going to do it. But if I run this light long enough, it will give me a quick bleep like that, and it notifies me, hey, I don't have the power to keep this output. I'm going to drop down to the 3-volt range, and we're going to work from there with less output. Okay. I've noticed even with Surefires, they'll have good output and then they'll drop off rapidly. Okay. With crappier lights like Olight and Fenix and stuff like that, it's more of a trend like this. So you don't really notice that you actually need to change the batteries in your lights, where this one is obvious. There's no guesswork. It literally tells you, hey, dumbass, I'm out of power. You need to swap cells. So it makes it very, very easy for me to identify that and quickly reload it. So those are the differences I look for. It's super simple. Again, you don't need a Modlite PLHV2. There's a lot of more affordable options. Again, I usually refer people to the Surefire G2 series, which is 600 lumens. It's a polymer body, but it's usually sub 100 Canadian. That's my, hey, what light do I buy? You buy this one if that's all you can afford. But this is a lot of the things I don't want in a light, and this is pretty much everything I do want in a light. So I just wanted to go through that with you guys really quickly. But if you take anything away with this, from this, one light to search, identify, control threats. You need a different light for a lot of that EDC shit or whatever you're talking about, or searching through a vehicle where you need to drop down the lumen range. That should not be your one light. Don't have a one light that does everything. You need to carry at least more than one light. Cool. All right. Stay safe. Merry Christmas. Hopefully Cyberpunk sorts the shit out soon.